We are now getting ready to hear from our second presenter today, and her name is Miss April Weed. April came to us at the beginning of the year. We were blown away by her knowledge of the Library Media Center, and she is the Library Media Assistant serving between two schools. That's Evansdale Elementary School and Pleasantdale Elementary School. But I can tell you this much. April has been an asset to both of these schools, and her teacher librarians truly love her and love having her assistance in the library media program. So at this time, good morning, April. We are going to turn it over to you, and Abel will be assisting you. So if when you're ready for him to move to the next slide, just give him some kind of cue, next slide or just next, and he will proceed with your PowerPoint.
Thank
Here
you
is
so much.
April Weed.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say first, thank you to Cassidy because that was some really good information on just setting up the Beanstack Challenge and using the template instead of feeling like you have to do it all yourself. So I really appreciate that. So I am, like Pam said, the LMA at Evansdale and Pleasantdale. I'm a lifelong library lover. I've always gone to the library. I've biked my kids in the cart behind the bike to the library. Um, it's just a place that I've always felt is very important. So I want to go ahead and get started and just share how to support the library media program as an LMA. Um, so first, I'm just going to start and say that as TLs that are joining today and also as LMAs, we all know we have certain essential duties in the library. There's a list that we can always reference that says, here's what you do at the beginning of the year, here's what you do at the end of the year. However, really a lot of our day is, especially at the beginning of the year, is dependent upon what's going on around us, what's happening in the school. Each school is different. Some of us are dealing with the Chromebooks. Some of us are just starting out in the library. Some of us are reorganizing everything. So it's just about what's going on around us. So my first recommendation to all LMAs is to ask. Use your voice when you are dealing with your what you have to do for the day and you're asking your TL what can be done. I'm a busy person by nature. I like to be busy. I don't like to sit very much. And so I have found that asking is beneficial to me and it's beneficial to my teacher librarians as well. For example, asking when my TL was out of the office and was out sick, asking what I can do to make the week go better and get stuff done so that when she came back, she didn't have a laundry list of things to do. So we printed out all the Media Squad invitations, got those out. And so you can see there's a picture of the Media Squad invitations that went out. And asking, she realized I could do that for her, and I realized I could help her with that. So always just asking. And one of the questions that I have shared there is, what can I do for you today that would make your day easier? And I think that's been kind of challenging for my teacher librarians too, is what can they give away? A lot of teacher librarians I've learned have been doing this for a long time by themselves, and to have an LMA there to help them out is also challenging on their end. They're realizing, oh, I can give some things away. So to those teacher librarians, feel free to give stuff away. We are more than happy to help. Second thing I would say is offer to take something off of, and it kind of sounds like I'm saying maybe the same thing as ask, but it's a little bit different in awareness. And the reason I say offer is they may be saying, I have this list of things to do today, and I need to get this done and this done and this done and this done. And I think one of those things is to offer to complete one of their items from that list. And I'm sorry, I'm really congested today, so I hope that's not bothering anybody, but I'm just a little bit stuffy today. Offer to complete a task that doesn't require a lot of clarification. So there may be things that they are doing and they need to stay focused on those things. So if you offer to take a task, try to take one that doesn't need you to go ask them a bunch of questions. Offer to make their visions come to life. There's a lot of things our teacher librarians really would like to do in their libraries, but they just simply do not have the time, especially with a lot of the extra things that they've been given to do. So offer to make their visions come to life, and I will share a little bit in the upcoming slides, some visuals of that. Abel, you can go to the next slide. Okay. So this slide is learning your TL's patterns, learning. So watching your teacher librarians, you can learn kind of how they have a way of doing their lesson time. It's kind of the same cadence. A lot of them do it the same way. They like it structured the same way, even if it's different content and different books they're sharing and different online resources they're sharing. A lot of it's kind of the same, and you can be aware of that and be ready to jump in at those times you know that you can be of assistance. Being present during those times as much as possible when they're doing things so that you can help if it's children that they need help with, distractions they need help with. If it's a presentation where there's songs and there's actions. We just did one last week at Evansdale where we were singing the Dot song, and the kids, when they see you doing all of the actions and you're doing all of the song as well with them, it helps them as well. So the other thing is we're in 2 schools. Most of us are in 2 schools. So they are in 1 school. They know the students and they can help assist with making sure, what those students need. The other thing that I would say is learn your resources. And this has been a big one for me. Because my teacher librarians are busy and have a lot of other things, is learning where I can get information as quick as possible that I don't have to reference. Also, at one of my schools, I've had new librarians, one last year and one this year, that didn't have a lot of that history of how to do certain things. And so helping them find the answers has been really a good thing, beneficial to them as well. So a couple of things I just did recently. I was sitting in the library, I was overhearing a DLI meeting, and one of the comments made was that there is not a lot of Spanish resources out there available to them. And so I quickly jumped on that and I sent it to one of my TLs, and I asked, you probably all saw in the LMS K-12, I asked to see what resources do you all have? And I got some really good responses from a lot of the people that like to share on the LMS K-12 email group, which you should all be following actively. Do not silence that group. But a lot of really good information on there. There's also the Educational Media YouTube channel. There's the Clever Research and Information Tools. And I know we share that a lot, or our TLs share that a lot with the teachers, but it's for us too. There's a lot of really good information out there. And so you can see the pictures here were an email that went out, and then I went to Galileo. And when you go into Galileo, you can actually pull up any subject. So a lot of our classes are studying Georgia, and they were worried that there wasn't enough information on Georgia. First off, in Spanish in one of my schools, my DLI schools. And so when you go into Galileo, you can switch the language and all of the content switches. And I know sometimes you say, well, just the top or just the main information changes to Spanish. But in Galileo, the entire articles change to whichever language it is. So one of my schools is French and one of my schools is Spanish. And so we can change those articles for the kids to read in French or Spanish, which is really helpful. And it's got so much information. It's a wealth of information. So using the Clever Research and Information Tools, and I'll show you in another picture in a minute what we use some of that for as well. And then the LMS K-12 OneDrive is also a lot of really good information. When you search on there and you go to that drive, you can just type in a search once you're in LMS K-12 and find a lot of really good information. I found I needed to know how to import the MARC records. It's something that I had not done. And so I needed to know how to import the MARC records from books that had been purchased the previous year by the previous TL. And so I searched MARC records import, and I found how to, and I didn't have to ask, and it helped my new TL as well. And then also I searched for any information on Destiny, and the Destiny training page, Miss Kozak had uploaded that on there, and I reference that all the time, all the time. If I have a question about Destiny and I don't know where to find something, or I need something looked up, I go and look in there. And then also kind of what Cassidy was just teaching is a lot of my quiet time, use those moments to learn. End of the day minutes, or when your TL is busy, or you just don't have any immediate tasks at the moment. It's kind of one of those quiet spaces, which I know is rare, but we do have them. I go ahead and I've been doing Beanstack learning, so that the videos and all of that, to kind of get very familiar with that in order to help both of my TLs. So if you have any questions along the way, just feel free to put those in the chat as well. So Abel, you can go to the next slide. So next I'm going to talk about being flexible. And I know it's a catchphrase, right? Be flexible. I think it's being willing to flex and still keep your list of tasks that need to be completed as an LMA. At the beginning of the school year, I have really noticed that I personally have had to help out the principals with certain tasks. And then also my LMA. So I've kept a running list of things that I need to do, or that my TL, sorry, what they need to do, they need to have done. And then also be ready, because at any given moment, my principals have jumped in and said that they needed something done. And then also be flexible with different job assignments. At one of my schools, we were not in charge of laminating last year at all. And I know that that's a blessing to some, but this year we are in charge of laminating. And so that has changed the cadence of some of the tasks that we do, because there's been a lot at the beginning of the school year, especially for teachers that need laminating done. And so I've had to work that into my daily list. And that at my other school, we're short staffed, and the principal has asked me to cross-reference lists of completed tasks for staff members, and then communicate that out to make sure that everybody's, completing the certain things that she needed done as far as their tasks go too. So I've had to work that into my day as well. So just being flexible and with a good attitude about it, because it never helps to have, like, I know it can be frustrating sometimes, but just going into your day knowing that you could have anything come at you, and just be ready for that. And if you have your list running, then it's always helpful to kind of go back to that list and know where you were. So another thing that we do is meeting goals. I think we help our TLs meet their goals. It helps us meet their goals, meet our goals, and it helps them meet their goals. So one of those things that I personally do is take pictures of the TLs while they're doing certain things. They can't go and set up a camera and take a picture usually of themselves doing the things. So I go and I try to help by taking pictures. So you can see here, this is Mrs. Clark. We were doing the dot song, and all the kids were doing the hand actions. And this is one of those moments that I was also referencing where during this class, obviously I was taking a picture, but during another class, they weren't as vocal. And so we were making sure that they're doing the hand actions and that they're singing along. And it was a really, really fun, the kids loved the song. It was really easy to pick up. And I think it was fun for Mrs. Clark as well to sing it. So taking pictures of both of us on dress up days, sometimes I think the TLs forget that they can have this for documentation later, and that we can have it for documentation later. So it's really good to just remind, or to just step in and take pictures and help them meet their goals as well. The other thing I was going to mention is, like I mentioned for that DLI meeting, emailing RTLs resources that they can then share with the teachers. So if you know of a resource and you become knowledgeable in that, you can email those resources to your TL, and then they can make sure to communicate that out, so that you're always working to help move those resources forward and make them very present. I know that teachers in general have a lot of different resources, but it's really nice for them to know what's available as far as what the educational media group puts out there. Um, so the other picture on here is a principal's task that I had at one of my schools where she had asked at the beginning of the year, this is the bulletin board that I would like you to have out in front of the library. It's a did you know, and it's all of the teachers' pictures and a form that they fill out telling all about themselves so that the teachers could get to know each other because there's a lot of new in this group. And so she really wanted to create that community feel. And so this was one of those things that I worked on, again, outside of my normal scope, but one of those things that I was flexible in saying, okay, I can go ahead and take this on and do this. So that was one of those. Um, so Abel, you can go to the next slide. And these are just some bulletin boards and displays to kind of highlight some of those things. So in the back of one of our schools, it's a newer school, and so the newer schools do not have bulletin boards, and I'm sure some of you have experienced that, and so you have to kind of get creative on how you hang things up. So we created a bulletin board on the back. I will tell you the way that we stuck this to the wall is with alien tape. If you don't have alien tape and you have a new school or cinder blocks, you should find alien tape. It is amazing. So this was a bulletin board. We just created it on a large piece of black paper and then framed it out once we hung it up so that it was a bulletin board in the back. And then I suggested a superhero book display because a lot of the kids come in at the beginning of the year, they don't know what to check out, and they're asking, do you have Spider-Man? Do you have Hulk? Do you have Batman? And this is a way to highlight that we have nonfiction books and fiction books and easy readers and easy chapter readers all in that superhero category. And so it's just a really easy display because it's just, I mean, everything's out there. You can find it on Teachers Pay Teachers. They say like reading is my superpower or reading gives you superpowers or whatever it is. So we just created superhero displays at both of the schools, and that was something we did. Um, let's see here. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. If you see me looking to the side, I have some notes over here. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Abel. And thank you for running it for me. So this slide just shows some that knowing your resources can be very, very helpful, like I was talking about earlier. On the picture with the graphic library, that is just a box covered in black paper. Again, we don't have bulletin boards over at that school. We don't have displays. So I just created a box and covered it. And all of those pictures have come from Britannica Image Quest. So I just went in there, found pictures of comic strips or graphic. I just typed in graphic, comic strips, whatever Popeye I could find. So I just put those on there and then created the graphic library display. And so that was something, knowing your resources and knowing what's out there, you can get those images, and it's just really neat. And then again, this is just referencing back to making your teacher librarian's vision come to life. One of the things that one of my TLs wanted was a cozy reading corner, and she had the chairs, and she'd gotten a couple of those donated, and she had a bean bag. You can see a little alien chair down there, or a Star Wars chair down there, and she just wanted a cozy corner. And so what we kind of came up with was creating a fireplace and free printables. I used all free printables for that. So the banner was a free printable, and then the brick pattern was also a free printable. And then we also actually laminated that so that it can be used from year to year in different places as well. So this is just a way of knowing that you have resources out there for you and that you can make your teacher librarian's vision come to life. So I hope that this has been informational and that you've learned something or that it will help you going forward. So thank you for letting me share.
Fantastic, fantastic. I just kudos to you, April, and I'm sure Eden Clark at Evansdale Elementary School and Elizabeth Wagner at Pleasantdale Elementary School are feeling so proud right now to have you as their LMA, and I'm sure that some of our other TLs are would like for you to support their LMAs in coming up with some of the ideas that you're sharing today. It was fantastic. One of the things that April emphasized was to be flexible, and that's not just for LMAs, that's for all of us, including here in our office. You got to be flexible. The other thing that was fantastic is that in educational media, we are solution oriented personnel. And when you come to a point where you need to find out some information, LMS K-12 has probably every question or every topic that you need information on. So if you will just do just like April and put that topic in the search field on LMS K-12, and I'm 99.9% sure that you will find most answers in LMS K-12. And thank you again, April. And if you have any questions for April, she's going to monitor the chat, so you can put your questions there in the chat area.